Hi everybody, welcome back to the Dan Good Show, where we cover all of the awesome games coming out each and every month. If you're new to the channel, I always do these releases in chronological order, and I say that this time because there has to be a huge caveat that this is not a family-friendly episode. We're gonna jump from gruesome horror to brutal sci-fi action and storybook adventures in between, so you're not going to want to miss this one. Here's your games to watch. As always, make sure to let me know in the comments down below what game you're looking forward to the most, or which game you think that I missed. As promised, first things first is a gruesome horror game, another one from one of my favorite studios, Supermassive Games, taking on the Dead by Daylight universe with the casting of Frank Stone. The story follows four friends who set out to make a classic horror film, but horror finds them first. If you're familiar with any of Supermassive's games, you know there's tons of replayability, different dialogue choices coming up with radically different endings, and even who survives in the story. This one has some features that I'm really excited for. You can unlock them first with the deluxe edition, or you can finish a playthrough and unlock all those features. Once you've finished your first playthrough, you're able to go to the cutting room floor, where you can pick and choose different moments in the game that are critical to the story so that you can make adjustments and get the ending that you really want without having to play the entire game again if you don't want to do that. Couch co-op is also back, which I think is so much fun, being able to pass the controller around with your friends as you're playing through the story for the first time. I would highly recommend that if you've not gotten to try that before. That's a great experience with friends. Now, a lot of people say it's a quiet year for PlayStation. I could not disagree with this more, and Astrobot is going to prove me right. Playing as Astrobot, we'll get to explore over 50 different worlds and over 150 characters from PlayStation's history, which I think is going to be this game's superpower. Astro will be able to spring, swing, and fly through all of the different worlds with adorable robot animal creatures on his back. While exploring, we'll collect coins that we're able to use in a gacha system to unlock special items for our unique VIP PlayStation heroes, and acquiring those items then unlocks special abilities for them in the game. While I'm extremely excited to play Astrobot next month, I do have to recommend to you, if you've not tried it already, Astro's Playroom is free on every PS5. It's mostly a tech demo for the PS5 DualSense controller, but it's also a love letter to everything PlayStation, which I think Astrobot will be as well. Now, if you're like me and you're craving the next entry in the Gears of War franchise, I have the next best thing for you, which is Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. We continue our adventure with Titus and his squad fighting back against an alien invasion from the Tyranids and the Forces of Chaos. Space Marine 2 is a third-person action-adventure game, heavy sci-fi influences with gameplay that looks very similar to Gears of War, but rather than doing a cover mechanic that franchise is so well known for, we focus way more on the visceral melee combat with parries, blocks, and rough melee executions. There's plenty of futuristic ranged weapons as well. If melee is not your thing, you're gonna have a great time either way. The whole campaign is fully playable in co-op with 3 people. You can also have an AI squad helping you as well. There's also gonna be a multiplayer mode akin to Horde from the Gears franchise, so there will be plenty to look forward to once you finish the story. Devolver's next release is one that I think looks really adorable and really exciting. The Plucky Squire follows Jot and his friends who discover a 3D world outside of their storybook when Humgrump realizes that he's the villain and kicks them out to rewrite the story. The Plucky Squire is a beautiful game, both in 2D and 3D, with radically different styles. The storybook looks kind of like what you'd imagine it to be, but then once you switch over to the 3D world, it looks very much like the remaster of Link's Awakening. Some of the gameplay trailers that I've seen will leave the book just to turn the pages in the 3D world and enter in a totally different spot to pursue things. Navigating environments in between the 2D and 3D worlds, plus like classic Legend of Zelda combat, I think this is going to be a really special game. And finally, we have The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. While any new Zelda release is something to look forward to, this one is extra special because this is the first time in the franchise's history that we actually get to play as Zelda. Rifts are invading Hyrule and have captured both the king and Link, as well as many of the citizens of Hyrule, and Zelda teams up with the power of Tri to get them back. If you played the Link's Awakening remaster, the art style is going to look very familiar to you, but the combat is going to be radically different. Using Tri, Zelda will be able to create echoes of objects, animals, and monsters that she encounters across Hyrule and use them to fight other monsters, to tackle platforming challenges, solve dungeon puzzles, and even fight dungeon bosses. And while the combat does primarily use the echoes, we just saw in a trailer released today as I'm recording which is why procrastination works, a brand new sword fighting form for her. In the sword fighting form, she'll be able to play very similar to how Link would play in a classic game, but she can only hold the sword fighting form for a limited period of time. True to the Zelda franchise, there's going to be plenty of exciting characters to meet, plenty of dungeons to explore, and each rift is going to take us to a radically different location. So this one is going to be one to look out for. That's been your games to watch for the month of September. Thank you so much for watching the Dan Good Show. Don't forget to leave a comment down below for what game you're looking forward to the most, or which game that you think that I didn't cover. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can catch all of the next games to watch series, and you can follow me everywhere at the Dan Good Show for video game live streams and for good conversations. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.